Hello, this is Jamie Magrich. Welcome to Jamie's Craft Table. Today I'm going to show you how I made this card. I'm not sure if you can see the embossing on here. Oops, I just crumpled it. But, it's a very simple card, but let's get started. Okay. For the paper, I have a 3" by 4¼ piece of silver foil. I have a 2½ by 3¾ piece of white. It's actually a titch, like a 1/16 of an inch larger than the 3¾ inches. But you could probably do 3¾ inches and it would be fine. I have a piece of Melon mambo, which is 4¼ by 5½ inches, and I've run this top half through the Wintery 3D embossing folder, this snowflake one. And then I have my card base. This is 4¼ by 11, scored at 5½, just for something different. Okay. We're going to be using the Season of Chic and the Chic dies. I'm using this stamp, and then the Thanks sentiment. And then from the dies, I'm using these snowflakes. I'm going to need 1 large one, 1 medium, and 3 small ones. And I'm also using the 4th from the largest of the stitched rectangles. Okay. I'm using polished pink and blackberry bliss ink. And you also need a scratch paper because you're going to need to be able to stamp off. Well, first thing I want to do, let's bring in our mini die cut and emboss machine. Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, I think that's what it's called. Alright, make sure it's in the camera so you can see. We need 1 plate and 2 plates. I'm going to bring in this 3 by 4¼ inch piece of silver foil. I'm going to bring in the dies. Now this is the 4th from the largest of the stitched rectangles. I'm going to center that up on there. There's not a lot of extra room. And then out of the center of that, we're going to cut some of these snowflakes. So I'm going to go ahead and, you want to make sure you're away from the edge though, so that you still have room for your border without the snowflake showing in there. I'm going to need 1 more of those. Okay, so this side is nicer. I guess doesn't make much difference. I'm not going to see it anyway because it's going to be underneath. I'm going to make sure this is squared up though. There we go. And I should have put that die, the rectangle, at a little bit of an angle, because then it would have been easier to get it started through the machine. Let's make sure that it cut everything. I think it did. Yep, and I need 1 more of these small ones, so let's put these other ones down here in my magnet bowl so I don't lose them. Put this on there. Run it through 1 more time. Alright. So this is scrap. I'm not sure those cut through. Oh, they did. It just needs a little bit of coaxing. just wiggling them up and down just a little bit. Okay, we need that. Let's put this die away before I lose it. Put this die away. All right. Now, pop these insides out, but you don't really need to. You could leave them in. Should have probably cut these prior, but I wanted you to see how I got it all out of that one piece. Especially with the foil paper, you kind of want to conserve it. Come on. One more. These ones should pop out easy. Okay. Oh, there's one in the center there. There we go. All right. That's out of the way. All right. So now we have our pieces. So now we can stamp. Let's move these out of the way. I'm going to bring in our Stampin' Pierce mat, a piece of scratch paper, and our 2.5 by 3 3/4 inch piece of white. Okay, and I'm going to bring in this swoosh first, and I'm using polished pink ink, even though I'm using Melon Mambo cardstock. Okay, and I'm going to ink this up. I'm going to stamp it off. Then I'm going to stamp it on my here. I'm going to stamp it off. I'm going to stamp it on over here. And then I'm going to bring this piece over without re-inking now. Let's stamp it off. I'm going to stamp it off twice for this center one here. Okay, that's fine. And then without re-inking over there. Okay. Now I'm going to bring in the snowflake. Stamp one full strength right here. Another one over here. And I'm stamping off the page a little bit so that it just gives it a little bit more interest. Stamp here. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp a little bit of one over here, and a little bit of one over here. So they're different layers. Okay. And I might have used Melon Mambo ink on that. I don't remember now. And now we're going to bring in Blackberry Bliss. And our sentiment. I'm going to ink that up. I'm going to stamp that right over here, sort of in the center, and over towards the left and a little bit towards the bottom. So I guess it's not centered, but there we go. That's all the stamping. Okay. Now, let's bring in this piece. I'm going to mount this on the top of here, and you'll see why I added just that little scotch of an inch. Otherwise, it would have been just a little bit offset, but that's fine. You could probably take a tiny bit off of the 2.5 inch side. but I didn't. So it's going to sit just inside those stitches. Okay, now I'm going to bring in those snowflakes. I'm going to put one here. Decide how you want it. And this kind of looks like a heart, so I kind of want it to be up like that. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue on this bottom. Just a couple little bits of it. Go ahead and glue that down. Come in with this one. Want to go light on the glue because you don't want to get it on the foil if you can help it. Oops. A little bit of oozing there, so come in with a microfiber towel and dab it so it doesn't get everywhere. And I've got these 3 other ones. Sit one there. You could use glue dots for the foil. It might be easier. I want this, I think, right there. One over here. Okay. Set that aside for a minute. Let's bring in our Melon mambo piece. Got a note on here so I remember to add the ribbon before I add the Melon mambo piece to the card base. And this is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And I took that embossing folder. What did I do with it? I just want to show you how I did it. And I put it in like this. And ran it through my die cut machine. And then I ended up with that. Okay, so now I'm going to take this piece of ribbon, and this is about 7.5 inches. And I'm going to use glue dots. So I'm going to put one on the back of one end, one on the back of the other end. Just be careful that you're not flipping your ribbon. And while I have it here, I already made a bow. Put the glue dot on the back of the bow. Now I'm going to put this ribbon right across where this fold line is there, for where the embossing folder ends. I'm going to go just above that line. I don't want to see the snowflake, I just want to make sure I have just above that line. Whoops, why didn't it stick? Okay, the glue dot didn't stick to that. So the other option is to come in with your Scotch tape or your cellophane tape. Tape it on the back. So make sure I got it lined up. So that works as well. Okay, cat hair on that though. Alright, so now let's adhere this to the front of our card base. It is the same size as the card. I just checked to make sure it opened the correct way, because nothing worse than putting it on upside down. Okay, I'm going to bring this piece back in. Bring some dimensionals in. And put some dimensionals on the back of it. center as well. I'm not sure this is Stampin' Up! Silver foil paper, but it was in my scrap bin. So, all right, we're going to put this down here. We want this bottom and this side to be the same distance apart from the edge. Make sure it's straight before I push it down. I'm going to bring in that bow. Add a second glue dot to it. And that bow is going to go over here. Okay, then we're going to finish it off. Forgot to get them out. There we go. With these iridescent pearls, or you can use rhinestones or regular pearls. Okay, so I'm going to use one large one. I'm going to put that large one here. And then put one small one on each one of these small snowflakes just to finish it off. Then I'm going to add a large one down here, a small one next to it, and another large one up here. There you go, there's our card we just completed together. Get this out of the way. Here's the one I did previously. Well, thank you so much for joining me today at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I hope you can find a little bit of time to play with some stamps, ink, and paper.